Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Romain Stefanini. I'm the CEO of Airmems. So at Airmems, we do make switches. We do make electronic switch. So what is a switch? A switch is an electronic component that either isolates current, electric current, or allow the current to pass through and actuate the functionality of a device. So for example, you have switch in your car to actuate the wipers of your car every second, or actuate and light the car with the switch. And the total accessible market for switch is tremendous. You have switch everywhere. You have switch in cars, you have switch in your cell phone, into railways, into plants. You have switch everywhere. It's more than 10 billion euros everywhere from switch that are sold every year. And you have switch even in aerospace. More than 500 switches into this plane, for example, for LED actuation, for circuit protection, main control unit, RF antennas, and also in satellite, in launchers, for redundancy, for RF flexibility. For example, you have more than 100 to 1,000 switches into satellites and launchers. And the main challenge, the problem is the main challenge for these switches are basically the facts are that for these switches you need performance, power consumption, you need small weight, it needs to be reliable and cost a little bit less. But with new space and for electric planes, for example, new solutions are being searching for power consumption and small weight and cost. This is becoming even more relevant. Basically, the switches that are used today is this kind of switch. It's an electromechanical relay that are actuated with coil, and it's consuming a lot of power. It's big, it's heavy, it's bulky. And our solution that we bring is a small switch that is the same thing as the previous one, but as small as a human hair, based on MEMS technology that is actuated by electrostatic actuation that consume almost zero power, which leads to 10 times less weight, 100 times less size, and 100 times less power consumption. And at the end, for planes, this is 1 kilowatt, up to 1 kilowatt energy savings, and up to 100 kilowatt weight reduction because of this switch. And there is also a big potential on cost savings. Why? Because our technology is manufactured with a semiconductor fabrication process, which is low cost. Today, at Airmems, we already demonstrate a proof of concept in a satellite. We have switches in space that have been launched in partnership with the French Space Agency and Thales Alenia Space. We did a first product release on radio frequency switch for high-end applications, and we already have industrial partnerships settling and settled. And we are now searching for 6 million euros for commercial and industrial deployment to become one of the world top leaders in electronic switches. Thank you for your attention.
So you talked about your first test in orbit.
Yes.
What's your scale-up plan, and when do you expect to be, or how many do you expect to be selling, and by when?
So we need to. The first proof of concept was done in a test part of a satellite. So the second step is now to be qualified, fully qualified, and then to go in several satellites in several steps. So in 3 years for space, and the market that we are targeting is also defense and instrumentation, which are complementary markets, because instrumentation is also, like for example, into scopes. You do need performances, and in this kind of market, it's really reactive, so it can be in 1 year or 1 year and a half.
And I just have a quick question. Is your sort of differentiator your ability to produce cost effectively in your manufacturing process, or are there other innovations that you would point to?
This is mainly due to the technology. The technology brings lower cost because the way we manufacture it, what we do, in fact, is we take an electromechanical switch and we reduce to the scale of a human hair. And because we do that, we need to rethink the way to manufacture the switch, and so we use semiconductor to do it. Now, this is not something new, but we have today 5 patents that brings efficiency and performances into radio frequency and into power.
Hey, you didn't say too much about competition. Are there other companies that are using MEMS technology to make switches as well? And how are you differentiated from them, if there are?
So our differentiation today is that we have competitors that are mainly in the US, 3 competitors, and our differentiation is that we are bringing a solution that goes up to 40 gigahertz in Ka-band applications, so which is really higher than their solution that is at 10 gigahertz, something like this, which is really higher than their solution.